welcome to this C-suite retreat, which is a 5-day mini retreat for C-suite leaders and senior executives to reclaim some time and break the burnout cycle. Essentially, a little few moments to pause and breathe and create some space in an otherwise jam-packed day. Welcome to day 4 of the digital C-suite retreat. Today we are going to be focusing on the area of our hips. So day 1 we focused on our jaw, neck and shoulders. Day 2 we loosened up around the chest. Day 3 we fired up the core muscles, and today we're going to be accessing the lower back and the hips. I have my couch pillow as always, and today I've also got a blanket that I'm going to use for the final stretch as a bit of a softener padding for the knees. So if you have any blankets to hand, or cushions or something to soften the pressure of the floor and the knees, then we'll use that towards the end. Beautiful. As always, let's land and arrive in the practice by connecting to our breath. So taking a few breaths in through the nose, fully out through the mouth to release any tension, any concentration, and anything that you were dealing with just before this practice. And straight away, I want to invite you to take a deep breath today. So imagine as the breath comes in through the nose, it pulls all the way down towards the lower belly and the pelvis. So filling the lower belly, and then exhaling to empty the lower belly, gently bringing it in towards the spine. Following the breath and connecting to this lower area of the body today. And we're going to spend some time mobilizing the lower body here to fulfill this practice. So inhaling here in the center, and exhale, leaning over to the right knee through the middle, and inhaling up to the left and round the back. Exhaling through that circle, inhaling round the back. Becoming as present as possible with all the sensations you can feel as a result of this movement. Seeing if you can make the movement last the length of the breath, and the breath last the length of the movement. Your movement, not mine. Your breath, not mine. This is your rhythm, and I want you to honor it. Feel free to find your own pace. If this works better for you, going really, really slowly, then stick with that. If you want to have a little bit of a faster tempo to mobilize the hips, then explore that. And if at any point you find a really juicy point of sensation, feel free to pause there and breathe to that area of the body to loosen any tension that you found. If it feels comfortable for you, you can close the eyes so that you can really drop into the sensations of the movement. If it feels okay for you, you might also start to include the head in this movement and the neck So dropping the crown of the head forward as you exhale. Inhaling to lift the chin towards the sky around the back of the circle. Let's take 5 more circles in this direction. Not forgetting the breath. And after that 5th circle, I want you to slowly start to spiral the circle into the middle. So making your circle smaller and smaller. You spiral into the center. Eventually coming to stillness, rolling the shoulders back and down. Taking a few breaths to acknowledge the impact that those movements had upon your body. And then we'll begin to go in the opposite direction. So we're going to spiral with the left shoulder coming towards the left knee. And spiraling open more and more. Exhaling down the front, inhaling to circle back. And finding your flow in this opposite direction. Keeping your sit bones grounded, but allowing yourself to explore the full circumference of the circle of your lower back and your pelvis. Finding your rhythm and pace. And remember, you can pause and breathe at any point that feels nourishing to do so. And finally, we've got the option to include the head and the neck on this side as well. So crown of the head towards the ground, if that feels okay. Chin towards the sky, if that feels okay. Taking a few more circles, let's say 5. And on your last round, initiate the closing of the spiral by making those circles smaller and smaller and smaller. Long, deep breaths when you arrive in the center. Before we transition into our next position. So moving the cushion off to one side, bringing yourself again to all fours. And just as yesterday, ensuring shoulders are above wrists, hips are above knees. And we're going to inhale to drop the belly, lift the chest. Exhale to round through the spine. Pay particular attention to how this feels in the hips. Inhaling, dipping the pelvis forward, and exhale, tucking it under. Inhale, exhale. Slow and steady movement and breath synchronized as one. And then we're going to take one last position here for the hips, which is a notoriously intense position within yoga. So laying out your blanket, or blankets plural, the more layers you have, the more comfortable this will be. And we're going to come into what's called frog pose. So for this pose, you're going to place your forearms down, and then you're going to slowly open the knees one step at a time, turning the feet out like a frog. So the inner arches of your feet are flat down. And you're going to go as far as is comfortable or on your edge of discomfort for this one. And we're going to stay for 10 slow breaths. So find a position that you feel you can hold that is challenging, but not, unbearable. Once you've found that position, closing your eyes, you might like to rest your forehead on a cushion or on your fists for support. And you can play around with sending your hips back or lower down until you've found that perfect point of challenge. Taking 10 slow, deep breaths here. Might like to exhale through the mouth, which can help to release tension. Halfway through now, staying as present as possible in the sensations of the hips and the pelvis, the groin and the inner thighs. Two final breaths. Well done. That is a tricky position. Really important how we exit the pose. So lift up onto the hands first of all, and then slowly walk the big toes to touch or towards each other, and then slowly bring the knees underneath you. And then ever so gently send the hips back, and you might like to come down into a child's pose just to rest and release that intense position in the hips. Beautiful. Feel free to stay here if you have more time. Otherwise, lifting up, bringing yourself to seated to close our practice together. Thank you so much for joining for day 4. I hope you are having a fantastic time in this challenge, or this retreat rather, which can be challenging at times. And I hope to see you for the 5th and final day of this mini retreat tomorrow.